do a wee Instagram story post. Here I am, live on YouTube. If you want to come and have a chat in general, obviously, first time back on YouTube in a while, come and have a chat. See you there. A live Instagram story for you there. Nobody is in yet, I don't believe, but we'll just wait, see if people come in. I'm probably going to be on here for about an hour or so. Hey, hammy lads. And you're back. £2. What a boy. Alright, Mike. Aye. Well, I appear to be back on YouTube anyway. Hello, Kieran. COIP. Aye. It's been a while since I've done regular content. It's just been one of those things where it's like, outside of YouTube and that, I've been working towards getting a diploma in digital marketing. That's like my job. I've been an apprentice for the last 9-10 months, and I've been working towards getting my qualification in that, and I'm pleased to say that I've now got that. I've not got the official certification or anything yet, but I've passed every single unit that I had to pass, so I've completed my apprenticeship. So the kind of main thing I've been focusing on in the last wee while is just getting that finalised. And obviously working 8 till 5 every day, I kind of lost the passion to come and make videos and stuff after work, and got a new puppy as well, so we had to take care of her, and first month or so was a bit different. For me personally, I struggled with the kind of routine of having a puppy and stuff, so everything kind of got flung up in the air, and it's weird because it's the first season where Dunfermline have been consistently very good at the start of the season, and I can already see the comments coming in with like COYP and up the pars. But it's been brilliant for Dunfermline. You can't really complain with anything that's happened because ultimately we're unbeaten since about February time, March. I think it's like 17, 18 games or something like that. We've only drawn 2 games, I think, against Ayr and Wraith. Obviously, Wraith being the most recent one, which we probably didn't really deserve a draw from, but we came back, got the points, so that's the good thing about that game, obviously. With it being a Fife derby as well, being 2-0 down, I was gutted, and I thought the game was over. But there you go. Oh, did you see the PSG game got called off? Nope. Let me know what happened with that game. Didn't see that. Kieran, CYP, always. How are you? I've missed your baby face. I can. The facial hair hasn't grown one bit since. I shaved. Like, you can kind of see there's a hint of a sideburn. But apart from that, nothing. So it's probably never going to come. I think you could beat Celtic the way they're playing now. Well, we came close this time last year, didn't we, in the Betfred Cup? So I think we would give it a good go. Can't wait for that big news to tell. You're going to tell me later, Harry. Let me know. Alright, Ben, I put 4-0 pars on Saturday. I've no confidence. Oh, Chris, that's horrendous. Morton, I've never really got faith in Morton, to be fair, so I get where you're coming from, but I don't know, 4-0, maybe a bit much. We're obviously playing really well, and I expect us to beat Morton, but you just never know. Games can be more difficult. I thought we'd go into the game against Queen of the South about a month or so ago, and go all guns blazing and probably win about 4-0, and we ended up coming out 3-2 winners, and it was quite a struggle for us at times. We didn't play entirely well throughout the 90 minutes, so it can go either way, some of these games, you never know. Alright, Ben, how are you? Alright, on. I'm pretty good. I'm getting sort of back into the mindset that I want to come back into YouTube, but I don't know if I just want to do lives and just chat with yous and can not really have to think about a whole creation of a video, etc. around everything. But I'm going to see how this goes. Maybe for the first week or so coming back. But aye. The Football Content Awards was tonight. And I watched the ceremony, well, the kind of awards thing. I didn't win. I didn't even come in the top 3. So there you go. Aye, it is what it is. Hopefully we can get there again sometime. And it'll be you. Glad to see you back. Good to see you in the live, mate. I've been watching, obviously, the podcast that he done with James Craig and Joe Cardos, etc. So hopefully there's more to come for you, as they were all good when they came about. They're doing well, as much as it pains me to say it. Obviously, I assume you're a Wraith Rovers fan. You're talking about Dunfermline. We've been doing very well, and the same goes to you. To be fair, I didn't expect you to come up and be as good a side as she's have proven to be. Obviously, he's had a bit of a off spell in Inverness a few weeks back, and so 2-0 up against us and chucked it. But overall, he's have started off pretty well, and in the promotion playoffs after 5 games, I'm pretty sure you would have taken that and been a decent enough points gap away from the bottom, so can't really complain. Ryan Anderson, how you been doing lately? It's been a while since, but it's been working with Pars majority of the time. I know, and that's one of the main reasons why I've not been doing match day content. It's just like I've got it into my head that it's a thing that I'm not going to produce match day content, because every time since I've not done it, we've not lost. So I'm trying to stay away from the match day content at least. But it doesn't stop me from doing this stuff. So there you go. Still suspended according to the TV, bit of a mental on the 4th official getting accused of. Ooh. Well, that's a bit of a shocker. That I got banned for streaming for 3 months. Ooh. Why is that, Hammy? I'm assuming you're actually going to tell me maybe a bit further in the chat. 4th official called the Besiktas staff member. Ooh. That's a bit of a shocker, to be honest. I can understand why it's been cancelled or suspended or whatever. Cove Rangers turned shite. I wouldn't put it past them to come back though. I mean, I know they've just been beaten in their first home game since coming up from the Highland League by Montrose at the weekend, but Cove Rangers are a decent side. I would back them for the promotion playoffs this season at least, but they've certainly not had a good couple of weeks. I would be surprised if Morton win as well, but I'm just saying that, I wouldn't count them out that much that it's going to be a 4-0 drubbing. Just keep a bit of faith. Hearts are there for the taking this season. I mean, we did beat them, and obviously we did play extremely well on that Friday night game on the telly, and I was delighted to see us come away with the 3 points. I wasn't expecting to win the game beforehand, but here we are. We got the 3 points against Hearts, and yes, they've jumped ahead of us again, and that is what it is. I'm expecting Hearts to win the league, but we've certainly proven that we can come up against them and give them a game. So who knows what will happen, especially in the games between Dunfermline and Hearts for the remainder of the season. Me and Stuart were drunk for the North London Derby and ended up showing the Liverpool Wolves game. All right, you showed a game. That makes sense, to be fair. If you showed a game, then you've kind of stuffed yourself. All right, Stuart. Can I say Morton will score as they have Murad up front? That bloke is useless. I don't know if they actually play him up front. Do they not play him like out on the wing or something? Which is daft, considering when David Hopkins brought him in, he said he wanted to play him as a striker. So that's daft in itself. Holy hell, you're terrible. Is this Justin Bieber after 10 boxes of Twinkies? Yes, lad. Come on. Get the abuse in early. Josh McPake is danger man for us Saturday. He's been good for us so far. Josh McPake's probably the only signing that Morton made in the summer that I was like, that's a decent signing. The rest of them I thought were a bit meh. But he's one of the better players, and I will be looking out for him on Saturday as Morton's main creative outlet, like you were with Nicky Cadden last season. Although last season you did have other players on board, like he's had Bob McHugh, who was scoring a decent amount and stuff like that. And Michael Tidser, when he was at Morton back in the day, was always a player you would look out for, and players like that. But I didn't really think you'd have many of them this season. Josh McPake's probably the main one. Callum Morrison's been the main man for Falkirk. I do agree with that one. I used to go to school with Callum. He was in the year above me, and I used to play on the AstroTurf pitches at my old high school. So it is pleasing to see him do well in his career. I've kind of followed him just briefly because I know who he is. He obviously had a spell at Stirling Albion, and I think he went out on loan to Brecon potentially. Didn't exactly get many games. It was another team in between Stirling Albion and going back to Hearts and then Falkirk. But he's certainly doing well for himself at Falkirk this season. Got a new deal, an extension to the deal that he signed when he first arrived. and I think he's league top scorer, if I do say so. I don't know if that's correct, let me know. Don't get me wrong, Ben, I'll be confident all week, then wake up on game day very confident. It happens to us all, mate, it happens to us all. Any Christmas songs coming this Christmas time? Have you seen what's happening in the PSG game? Aye, well, someone just alerted it to me up there. I did not know, no. But it does sound quite serious, for what that guy was saying above. I'm a Queen's fan. I think this will be the season we go down. They're so bad. Queen of the South, aye. I've got to be completely honest. I don't rate Queen of the South. I think they are probably going to eventually deserve to go down to League One. They've never really been that great in the last few seasons. Their kind of peak was obviously when Dunfermline were actually out of the Championship and they were pushing for promotion playoffs, and that's just simply not happened in the last few seasons. They were arguably lucky to avoid finishing the season properly last season because it looked like there was only one way for them. Sometimes he plays Muirhead at right back. Is this how useless the guy's gotten up front that we have to shove him in any position that's free in the team just to shoehorn him in somehow? Crazy. We've played poor this season in terms of style of play. Don't count yourselves out. Obviously talking about Hearts, but I on the Queen of the South front, I've got to say, if they stay up, it's because teams will be just worse than them. I don't rate them at all. They will be bad, but if they don't go down, it'll just be because teams were even worse than them. And it sounds really harsh, but I can't see that being the case. That's just as it is for me. Nice to see you back, Rory. Cheers. Hopefully, I'm back for the foreseeable future now. It's been quite the hiatus for me, but hey ho, we move. Hello, Lewis Adam. Please mention about Stevie and Kyle's awards today. Aye, very good. That's us now won 2 Manager of the Month awards in the Championship, and I believe 2 Player of the Month awards as well. But Eugene Murray and now Kyle Turner, and obviously Stevie Crawford winning it twice. Very good stuff. Pleased for all of the boys involved. Obviously the coaching staff been fantastic so far this season, and the players especially as well. They've gone out, performed well on the pitch, and Kyle Turner deserves that award because he's absolutely fantastic. And Ryan Anderson goes on to say below, hashtag always play Kyle Turner. Get that trending on Twitter because it is the one that you want to be saying. Sitting on with 8 unbeaten streak. St Mirren on a good run. Obviously they had their issues with COVID and games getting called off, etc. They've been unlucky recently with the whole Hamilton Academical situation, getting 3 points, and due to the COVID regulations, it is a bit of a stickler for all clubs, and it just is what it is. Your clubs are going to get punished if you break the regulations, and St Mirren have fallen foul of that, and it's allowed Hamilton to gain a bit of ground, and then they got a win over Kilmarnock at the weekend. So at the moment, St Mirren are sitting in the bottom 2 and Hamilton are out of it, but I don't see that being the end of it. I see it being quite the dogfight down the bottom at the Premiership, and I do think Hamilton will go down, but they're at least out of it for now. Now here's a comment that we can all agree on. Ben is the best team in the world. Comment by Ben Odlin. Get on yourself, Ben. What's your opinion on Paul McMillan signing a pre-contract with our rivals Dundee? Paul McMillan signing a pre-contract with Dundee, I don't think it'll happen. I just simply don't. I've got this kind of thing that most players that have played for a team like Dundee United will not want to move over to Dundee. I know like Osman Sow has done it, but Osman Sow did not have a real connection with Dundee United fans. Paul McMillan certainly did, and I don't know. I simply can't see it happening just because of that link. I know players have made the move before. There's plenty of names you could give me, but I just don't see Paul McMillan actually joining Dundee. I think he'll sign for a Championship club, but a team like Hamilton would be quite. It wouldn't be a bad signing for a team like Hamilton, I think. But a Championship team, if they take him on, like for example, Robbie Neilson wants pace in his Hearts squad. Why not go and get Paul McMillan? You've managed him before. You got good form out of him, and in the time that you had him at Dundee United. So why not go in for him again if he's available on a pre-contract? I think that would be a good move, or at least try to bring him in January. But hey ho, we'll see what happens with that one. I don't see it being Dundee that he ends up joining them. In midfield of Pybus and McGee, it's pish, and Reece McCabe is crap as well. Basically, a League One, League Two midfield. I mean, Reece McCabe got let go for Dunfermline. Funnily enough, got let go by Alan Johnson, and now Alan Johnson's re-signed him. So that's a bit of a weird one. Pybus and McKee. McKee can be alright on his day, but he's probably not one of the best. He's nowhere near up with the best in the Championship in terms of midfielders. And Dan Pybus, I'd never heard of the boy before he came to the Championship, and here we are. He's still playing regularly, so I don't know. I don't really know much about Pybus. I know more about McKee and McCabe. As I said, McCabe's the weird one because Alan Johnson let him go at Dunfermline and has now re-signed him for the same level of football. It just doesn't make much sense. So that's my thoughts on that anyway. It's true. I think Pars will edge us out this season. We haven't played very well except the Dundee game. I mean, that is true. I'm not going to disagree with you there because I don't think Hearts have played that well. But ultimately, I just think the squad's quality over the course of a season will show, and Hearts will eventually just gain a few more points. They might win the games at Tynecastle against us, etc., which will gain a few more points. They're obviously ahead of us at the moment, despite the fact we've not even lost a game. But because we've drawn twice and Hearts have won every game and only lost a game against us, they've jumped ahead. So it's just one of those. I just think Hearts will edge it, and then maybe open a wee bit of a gap coming into the season when teams have qualified for playoffs and are looking more towards those games than the rest of the league campaign. Rory, is there a chance you can contact the club to see if you can go to a game and film? I'm sure they know who you are and the content you create. I have tried this. I've tried to get in contact with people I know at the club, but at the moment it just doesn't. It wouldn't feel right personally for me because I know that there'll be fans wanting to go to these games, and at the end of the day, I'm still just a fan. I know I've got this platform, but I'm still just a fan, and I didn't want to get on the nerves of people that would feel a bit unjust me going to these games and just for the sake of making a YouTube video. Like I get why you as a viewer would want to see that, and don't get me wrong, I'd love to go for those purposes as well, but I'd love to be just doing it when other people are able to go to the games as well, and it's not just a case of I get preferential treatment because of it. So there you go. Do you reckon Livy will stay up? I think they will, easily. I think there's worse teams than Livingston in the league, so I think they will stay up, yes. What is the greatest football fan lunch you've ever seen? Away at Inverness when we drew 2-2 in the last minute to secure the promotion playoffs. Also away at Hearts when Declan McManus scored. They were crazy as well. Can't mind much more that I've actually personally been in. Oh, the Scotland game at home against Slovakia, we won 1-0. That was a crazy night, and everyone was chucking themselves about that night. It was mental. Unfortunately, we didn't qualify for it at that point, but we've qualified for the Euros now. So I've also missed that on the channel. Imagine missing that, eh? The amount of stuff I've missed. I think this will be Dobby's last season. Don't blame him having to play with the pish players around him, especially in the centre mids and defence. It is a kind of point. I don't think we've seen the best of Stephen Dobby for even last season. I don't think he was at his best. I think he'll eventually just kind of drift into a coaching role. But as long as Queen of the South are kind of bang average, they'll be relying on a player like Dobby because he is easily still the best player at that club. So I think that he'll probably be around for next season. So that'll be that. Would I take McMillan back at East End? Not right at this very moment because we have enough wingers and we've quality wingers. He's wanting game time more than anything else, and he's not going to be guaranteed that with the wingers that we've got now because they're all in form. Fraser Murray's just come off the bench and scored in the Fife Derby, for example. You've got Dom Thomas, who's playing brilliantly. Ryan Dow, who's playing exceptionally. If you've not seen his involvement in Dunfermline's second goal at the weekend, then go and see it. He does some fantastic play on the wing, puts in a brilliant driven cross from Declan McManus, who volleys it in, and it's just that type of play that I really love about Ryan Dow. And he also comes back and gets involved with winning the ball back in the middle of the park and stuff. So as far as I'm concerned, Paul McMullen, good player, but at the moment, Dunfermline's squad doesn't cater to what he needs. He'd be as well staying at Dundee United, for example, because he's probably going to have a very similar role, at least to start off with, at Dunfermline, because at the moment, the position he plays, we've got informed players playing in those positions. So, do you fancy Hearts to beat Celtic in the Scottish Cup? Certainly do. It's difficult, because you wouldn't have backed Ross County, St Johnstone to go to Celtic Park and not come away with any defeats for those two teams respectively. No, I don't. I don't fancy Hearts, if I'm being quite honest, because Hearts' history in this fixture, especially in cup finals. I think there's been 2 cup finals between Hearts and Celtic in recent years, one in the Betfred Cup and one in the Scottish Cup, and they've just simply not done enough. And I just think Celtic will be far too much for them. It doesn't mean to say that Celtic are any good right now, though, because they just simply aren't. It's shocking how bad their form is. Hello, Raxau, if that's how you say your name there. What do you reckon the score will be in the final? I'm going to go for Celtic are going to concede. I just think that'll happen. I don't think it'll be first, though. I think Celtic will score and Hearts will score at some point. So both teams to score and Celtic to win 3-1. Just because I don't really know why I'm going for such a high-scoring Celtic game, because there hasn't really been one for them in recent times, and 3-1 would indicate a decent performance, and they've certainly not been doing that recently. So it's just me talking gibberish. Don't take it with any credence. How do you think the players will look like coming into the season? Hopefully, obviously, I'm expecting Hearts to win the league, so I'm going to put Dunfermline in the playoffs, and hopefully it sees Dunfermline get promoted to the Premiership. I think Alan Arbroath will have more fight than Queens to stay up. Alan Johnson hopefully will get sacked. He's a useless manager at Championship level. Well, and I don't, and it's a tough one. It really is a tough one, because he's obviously done fantastic at League One level. He's a fantastic League One manager. But in terms of Championship, he's never really hit the heights. And now he's got a struggling corner of the south side that he has now built his full entire squad for. And they still don't look too great. I do agree with you that one of Alwar and Arbroath will be better than Queen of the South this season. I just don't know what one. I would expect Alwar to come back and eventually hit some form, but it's tricky. I really hope, for the sake of it, that one of these teams can outwit Queen of the South, to be honest, because I just think they're better structured teams, and Queen of the South just didn't have. They never convinced me that they're that decent a team, put it that way. Hello, Darren. Well done on hitting 1K, as well as Stuart as well. You hit 1K recently. Well done on that front. Hello to Daniel Gilmore, and he also says Moan the Pars. Moan the Pars, indeed. And next, if there was another Dundee derby that fans were able to go, would you go, Ben? Well, I was going to go to the one at the end of last season, so I suppose the answer to that is yes, because I was going to go to the one that was going to obviously be the last one of last season. So the answer to that is I would. Ryan Anderson, that Hearts game, Callum Smith, he's boxed off his man and now set off with it. Oh, you only feel the emotional attachment to that commentary if you're not a Dunfermline fan. But essentially, Derek Ray, I believe it was commenting on BT Sport that day when we played Hearts at Tynecastle, and the Callum Smith from the word Callum Smith there, that was a line he said. Callum Smith boxed off his man, set it up for Declan McManus, and slotted away. Oh, beautiful, beautiful scenes. Will Shankland leave United? Nah. He's not done enough this season to warrant getting another move. Like, if there's obviously a load of the season still to go. He could still score a decent amount this season, and I know he missed a lot of games, right? But he's certainly not shown the same form that a guy like Nisbet's shown. And it all comes down to how much chances have been created for him, as well as him creating chances for himself. And he has scored, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 goals this season. But I don't know, it's just, I think he'll need to stay at United and really show some good goal scoring form before he gets his next big move. What are my thoughts on Scotland's World Cup draw? I believe I had this saved to actually go over at some point. Maybe I did not. I believe it is. I know Israel are in there, and that is a sickener because I really wasn't wanting them again. Austria were in there, Denmark. What was the other team? Moldova, and there was one other team. I cannot remember who the one other team was. If someone could let me know that in the comments, then I'll get back to that one. It did look a decent draw, to be fair. There is some tricky opponents in there, Israel being one of those, but hopefully we're strong enough to get past those because I think it's a very favourable draw. There it is. Faroe Islands was the other team. So it's Faroe Islands, Moldova, Denmark, Israel, Scotland, and who's the other one? I've now forgotten the other one. What is that all about? Crikey. Austria. There you go. Aye. Overall, I think Denmark's obviously the hardest opponent, but it's probably the best draw we could have hoped for from the pot that they came out of. Austria, again, a harder draw, but I think we've got enough to get past them, hopefully. Israel, I think that'll be the trickiest tie. Overall, can the recent fixtures that we've played against them say that? So I think that Israel will be quite a tough tie. I can see us drawing one of those games, I really can, because they've got really good forward players for one thing. Moldova, we've got to get past that. Faroe Islands, we've got to get past that as well. So there's your 5 ties. I really do hope that I can get to some of these games, especially obviously the games at Hampden. And I'm actually thinking, right, because next year, I believe it's Moldova on Friday the 12th of November, 2 days before my birthday. And then on the 15th of November, it's Scotland at home to Denmark, I think. So for my birthday, I'm potentially thinking about maybe making a trip to Moldova if it's allowed at that point. So actually pan out, but there you go. Do you reckon Dundee will miss out on the playoffs if they keep McPake? Again, it's a tricky one. They're not looking that great. They don't look like a playoff side. Like I would easily have, right, Hearts winning the league, and in no particular order, Dunfermline, Inverness, and Ayr being in the promotion playoffs. Now there's your spaces taken up, and you can't really argue with those choices. I don't think. If Dundee can really pick it up and really get back to some good form, like they showed in the second half of last season, then there is no reason why they can't be involved in the playoffs at some point. But with those 4 teams I just mentioned, they're like the ones that I'd look at right now and go, it's their playoffs to lose, essentially, because they're in good form just now. It's a shorter season. And if they win their games against Dundee, they're most likely to be involved in the playoffs because they're better than the rest of the league as well. For, like, I would say, for example, Inverness can beat anyone on their day. If they're in good form, they can beat anyone on their day. Ayr, the same. They're quite an up and down team at times, but I think they can produce good form more often than not. Dunfermline were playing extremely well, and I'm obviously hoping that we finish in the promotion playoffs by the end of the season. So Dundee are going to find it hard. I don't think sacking McPake is just the immediate best answer. It's the obvious thing, just because he's the manager and they're not playing well, so change the manager, blah blah blah. But I don't know. I don't think it's that black and white, if you know what I mean. So that's that. Predictions for Hearts 3, Queen of the South. I'll predict Hearts 3, Queen of the South 0. No ambition at Palmerston. Wish the chairman would go away. He's a fraud. We've been going downhill at Palmerston for years now. I can't really disagree with much of that. So there you go. There's a Queen of the South fan saying 5-0 Hearts. Well, no positivity at Queen of the South, it seems. What are your thoughts on your money allegedly turning down a new contract? Well, I don't really know where that rumour's come from, to be quite honest. So I've got no real thoughts on that. There is no substance to that rumour as far as I'm concerned. So I hope he does sign a new contract at some point, though, because he's out of contract next summer, and I would like to get a fee for the boy, if I'm being quite honest. Clark is better than Shankland right now. Right now, Shankland shouldn't be anywhere near the Scotland squad for the Euros. I agree with that sentiment in a way, but I do think that the likes of Ollie Burke should miss out if someone like Nisbet has to make way for a player like that. I don't think Shankland's the obvious one to drop out. As I said, guy like Ollie Burke, potentially Callum Patterson as well. Just the kind of players that aren't exactly guaranteed first team football and aren't on form for their clubs overall. I would have them out of the squad before I would even think about taking Shankland out. But you're right, Nicky Clark is in better form than Shankland, so that's true. I think 300 fans will be in for the Queen's Dundee game on the 26th this month. Should be more, could easily get over 1k at Palmerston. Spaced out, no point having 300. I know that is the one disappointing thing, that even though fans are getting back in, there could easily be more people. You're seeing stadiums in England get 2,000, 4,000 fans back. It is a bit silly just going with the 300, but we can't dodge about it. It's just the rules, and hopefully they change sooner rather than later now that the vaccines come out and people are getting vaccinated and stuff. I know it's going to take a while for that full process to come around and people like me to get a vaccination, but hopefully by the time 2021 comes around and say February rolls around and stuff, we can really start to get fans back into stadiums, because it's been so long-winded now. It's almost been by the time January comes, it'll be just 2 months short of a year since the last football game was played in Scottish football with fans there. So hopefully we can get back to that soon. Nisbet call-up, I hope so. I really hope so. I hope he can go to the Euros after having a very good first season in the Premiership. He will 100% deserve it. Ethan McLean says it was an Dunfermline impressed. If you can contact me on some form of social media and send me the link to this, or tag me on Twitter or anything, I'll have a look at that. Ryan Anderson, we need to get all of Murray, Comrie, Edwards, Turner and Dow all tagged in on new deals as soon as possible. Yeah, all of them, essentially. I think Ryan Dow signed a contract extension, so I think that one's fine. He signed a contract extension along with Lewis Martin last season, so I think that one's pretty sorted. Kyle Turner, yes. Turner and Murray are the real ones that I'm worried about. Comrie, just coming back from injury and played well at the weekend, so yeah, him as well. And Josh Edwards, I think he'll stay because he still needs to build his career up and he's still learning, so I think he'll stay. How would you rate St Mirren so far? They obviously struggled a lot at the start of the season, and their overall record this season has been extremely unlucky in terms of their players getting suspended for stupid tackles, then the coronavirus issues that I've seen numerous players for their squad out of action for a sustained period of time, then breaking the COVID regulations and not being able to play their game against Hamilton, which Hamilton got 3 points from, and now they're a decent amount of games unbeaten, and they still find themselves sitting in the bottom two of the league because Hamilton have now overtaken them. So it's a strange time at St Mirren, it really is, but I think they'll have enough overall to at least avoid bottom spot. I'm not going to claim that they're going to finish outside the bottom two, but I think they'll have enough to not be involved in automatic relegation at least. 2k at Carlisle's ground, that's like Palmerston, so don't get only 300 fans, but it's a start for clubs to get money coming in the game. I agree with the last part of your thing, and 2k at Carlisle's ground, like, is that no, like, what, an hour, maybe even less than that, away from Coonan South? I think I'm right in saying that. It's not exactly far away. So it's incredible that literally about just down the road you can have 2,000 people in a football ground, but then just up the road you're going to have 300. Like, why? But anyway, it's not me that's making the decisions. Liam Barnett, watching streams of the odd game that your team is on the TV just isn't the same. It's a good thing we can still watch the game, but yeah, you need to get back soon. I agree with that sentiment. I have personally been still reacting pretty much the same. Like, when we scored our second goal against Hearts, I was up fucking booting things about the living room, and it was crazy. And when David Marshall saved the penalty for Scotland, obviously everybody was going mental that day because it's just Scotland qualifying for the Euros. It's a bit different for watching your club week in, week out, but I've not really lost much of the feeling of being at a stadium. I still watch my team and I'm still like nervous and wanting us to win. And when we score, I'm still celebrating sort of in a similar vein to being in stadiums, but there is no feeling like when a goal used to go in and you'd hear the roar of the crowd and you'd see people elated around you, and that would just make you feel even more brilliant about the whole situation because everyone else around you was extremely happy. So aye, this is why football needs to come back, because it makes so much people so happy and it improves all the mental health side of things, which everyone at some point in this pandemic, I'm sure, has struggled with at some point. So hopefully we can all get it back soon. Do the big match at the weekend. Louise, I'm sorry, but I've got a wee kind of superstition going on at the moment that because Dunfermline are doing so well, I'm going to avoid doing match day content because of that. So big match will not be back this weekend, but I can certainly sit and do streams out with of match days like this and just come in and chat. Kind of maybe on a Friday night do a kind of preview of the game, Sunday do a review and just talk about what happened in the game, etc. And talk about in general Scottish football as well, and just get your guys' thoughts on how your team performed, etc. Confident for St Johnstone in the cup. I actually am. Like we're playing that well. Why shouldn't I be confident? It is next week as well. It's this time next week that we play the game, so it's coming in quick. And the real disappointing thing is that, again, back to no being allowed to go to the football, but it's just a case that, we're going to potentially get to Hampden, right? If we beat St Johnstone, we go to Hampden in a cup semi-final, and we won't be able to go. Or any fans of any club who get through to these Hampden games, we're not going to be able to go, and that is sickening, especially when it's a team like Dunfermline who haven't been at Hampden, God, since 2007, I want to say, and I didn't go to that. I wasn't even supporting the club at that point. I became a supporter in 2010, so I've never been to Hampden supporting Dunfermline. It will be gutting if we get to Hampden and we can't go, but it will also be brilliant if we get to Hampden because we've reached a cup semi-final. So I don't know how to feel about it. I really don't. How is Fraser Murray getting on? Scored at the weekend and scored a brilliant goal against Kilmarnock. Brilliant free kick. Scored in his first friendly appearance, I do believe, against Stenhousemuir in pre-season. Overall, outside of that, I can't really say that he's played fantastic in any game like a player like Dom Thomas or Ryan Dow has, or Kyle Turner, etc. But he's coming on and having an impact in games in terms of actually getting on the score sheet or getting an assist. So you can't really complain on that side of things. I want to see more of him in open play and getting on the ball and really making an impact in games just through like great passes and just great movement or something like that, and not just goals and assists. But I'm not going to moan that much because at the end of the day, he's contributing to the team. So that is what it is. I agree with you. Watching both Dunfermline and Celtic teams just doesn't feel the same as being at both EEP or New Central Park. It's better than no football, but doesn't have the same feeling as being there. Aye, I mean, overall, I agree with the sentiment. It's not as good as being at the grounds just simply because of everyone being around you, etc., etc. But I enjoy it. I still enjoy it because I can still get to watch my team, and that is the main thing that I want to keep focusing on by watching it from home. I don't want to ever think like that. But like at the end of the day, going to football games at the moment is out of our hands. This is the only way we can watch it. So like if the games are able to be streamed and watched seamlessly with no interruptions, which I know some people have had issues with, then I'm all for it until we can get back into grounds. What do you think of St Mirren and Kilmarnock coming to forfeit games for breaking the rules? It's one of those things, like it's harsh punishment, but it's what the SPFL have done, and I've always got these kind of things about this. Like it doesn't really matter what my opinion of it is because at the end of the day, it's not up to me. At the end of the day, these decisions are made by other people, and if it is what they go with, we just need to kind of suck it and see. It's just one of those things. I know people have been comparing the likes of Aberdeen's punishments, Celtic's punishments, etc., in comparison to the ones like Kilmarnock and St Mirren were dealt with. But for the Celtic and Aberdeen ones, their clubs didn't know that their players were breaking the coronavirus rules. Like Celtic didn't know Bolingoli was going away to Spain. Rangers didn't know George Edmondson and Jordan Jones were going to go to a party. Aberdeen didn't know that 8 of their players were going to go to a pub that night. And whereas St Mirren and Kilmarnock admitted to breaking the COVID regulations. So that's kind of where I see it. It is fair from that aspect of it, but I don't know if the punishments are too much, if you know what I mean. Like, they should have been punished, but I don't know if the punishments should have been different, if you know what I mean. Do you think Rangers will slip up like they did last season? No. Simply put, no. And even if they did, they've got the ability to now, because Celtic are 13 points behind. They've got 2 games in hand. So if they win the 2 games in hand, say, right, which isn't a guarantee at this point, but if they win those 2 games in hand, they're 7 points behind. They beat Rangers in, I think, New Year. They're 4 points behind. Then there is, I think, probably there's got the potential to be 2 more Old Firm games. So if they then win those next 2 Old Firm games, which is nowhere near set on, then they've got a chance. But Rangers have built up a further gap because of the relentless nature of winning game after game, that I just don't see it being the case that Celtic can claw it back at this point. And to answer your question again, no, I don't think Rangers will slip up, because they simply are just looking too good. Do you think Celtic should sell Ajer? They should sell some of their players, because I think they're kind of going to have a bit of downsizing in terms of financial side of things. Obviously, coronavirus, etc., affecting everything that football clubs are doing at the moment, even the biggest clubs like Celtic. So I think they will be selling 1 or 2 of their bigger assets. Whether Ajer's one of them, I don't know. There's certainly players like Edouard, Christie, and Cham, Ajer as well, that have all been considered as players that were wanting out the door. So it'll just be up to Celtic to see who they actually go on to sell. Because I think they will sell somebody. I want Hibs and Rangers to play each other in the semi-final, and we play whoever it is if we beat St Johnstone. If we beat St Johnstone, right, it's Livingston versus... Who is it? God, I should know that off the top of my head. Livingston are playing... Let me know that. Let me know in the comments. But if whoever wins it at the Livingston game, I want to play them in the semi-final, so we get to a final. Because then there's the potential that we could actually get to the cup final, because it's at the end of February. So you've got to hold out the hope, eh? Because if we get one of Rangers or Hibs, I think that is probably where we'll come unstuck. I remember when Dunfermline fans years ago ran into Capel because they won the league. I don't really know, it was like 9 years ago, I don't really know. We won the league and we pitch invaded on the day that we won the league. Well done, Football Brown Ginger, on hitting 750 subs. I do believe when you were last in one of our streams, we were trying to get you to hit 500, so well done on that front. And cheers for that. Didn't win, but hey ho, we go again. Just another question, but who's, in your own opinion, the 3rd biggest club in Scotland in terms of fan base? It's got to be one of Hibs or Hearts, isn't it? I don't think Aberdeen have got as big a fan base. They've certainly got a good history within their club, but I think one of Hibs and Hearts are the biggest, and I'd have to maybe just say Hearts, because I think they've maybe got slightly bigger fan base, but I think it's got to be one of the Edinburgh clubs, just based on fan base anyway. Ross County, correct. No, older folk are coming in and saying it. It's Livingston versus Ross County. So we beat St Johnstone. Livingston or Ross County, take on either of them two. I would actually feel more confident going into those games than against St Johnstone. Because St Johnstone are on a good run of form, and Livingston and Ross County, any team can turn up for them. St Johnstone are actually on a good run of form there, and they've just drawn with Celtic as well. So I would take either of them in a cup semi-final to get through to a cup final for the first time in 13 years. It'll be 14 years by the time the cup final comes round, but that'd be mental. And yes, Baby Shanks, it is for the Betfred Cup. What's your thoughts on the Scottish Cup final, Ben? Spoke about this a wee bit earlier in the stream, but I think Celtic will come out on top. I know it's a bit like controversial at the moment just because Celtic are in such bad form, but I do think that they will have enough to beat Hearts. I said 3-1 earlier in the stream, and I'll stick with that just because I said it back then. That's that. You think Nicola Sturgeon should follow what England is doing, bringing fans back in? I spoke about this earlier as well. I do think we should can keep the tier system so that when places like Clipmanshire, where I live, gets into tier 2 or tier 1, whatever ones it is that gets fans back, then fair enough, they're allowed fans back in, but allow a bigger amount of fans. 300 is nothing in the grand scheme of things. 300 for a team like Ross County or Aberdeen when they go back to that level and they can have fans back in. That's probably going to cost them more money than it will by having the fans watching at home, because they still need to provide facilities for the fans to come in and use, and they need to provide the lighting on the stand that the fans sit in, etc., etc. So it costs clubs anyway when you have such a low number. And if you can have 2k fans in England and there's no issues with it, why can't it happen up here? Even if it's a small number like 1,000, I don't see that much of an issue with that. Make it more than 300 though. It's too little in my opinion. I'm in tier 3 as well. I can see a couple of people saying that they're in like tier 2. I'm in tier 3 at the moment. So is Fife, so that makes Dunfermline in tier 3 as well. Clipmanager have actually got quite a high rate at the moment. I think we're at the top of the league if you look at the per 100k of the population of that area. But I think we're doing like mass testing or something, so it's allowing us to stay in tier 3 and not get moved up to tier 4. And there's no one that's in tier 3. Tier 3 gang, come on. Right, well, it has been entertaining 47 minutes this has been going on for. I did kind of plan to end this at about 9:30, so I'll kind of start to wrap it up here. Cheers for kind of coming in to the stream and listening to me ramble on for 48 minutes coming up. It is now. I will definitely come back and do at least a few more streams this week just to kind of chat about football and stuff like that, and we can just talk more generally about football in the upcoming ones. Like on Friday night, I'll sit and talk about the Dunfermline game coming up, and on Sunday, I'll talk about what happened in the Dunfermline game. We can all talk about how our team's done and stuff like that. So look out for streams coming up if you're in watching this now. There will certainly be more coming up. And cheers for coming in. Cheers for listening to me ramble on, as I said. And there's Falkirk into tier 2. Terrible, terrible stuff. Nah, seriously, it's good to see any club, any places getting further down the tiers, because it just means we're getting more back to normality, and that's all we can hope for after almost 9 months of this now. Andy Shits, hello there. We're just away to leave, but that's it. Watch along for Ayr versus Wraith. Is that on Friday night? That's got potential, that, because it is not a Dunfermline match day, so that does have potential. I may take you up on that offer, Ryan. But yes, bye, Darren Mullen. Cheerio to everybody. I'm going to end it here now. But as I said, that looks like a potential on Friday night. We can talk about the football. We can watch along for a championship game as well. And just more general football chat coming back on this channel. You'll love to see it. Cheers for joining, lads, and I'll see you in the next one.